Hi, my name is Billie, and I'm 17 years old. I would like to tell you the story of how one song turned my whole life upside down overnight and what has finally become of that. Have you already guessed what my full name is? My name is Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell, and I am pretty sure you have heard about me. About what I am now, or at least how other people would like to perceive me now. And I bet you are interested in how it all began. That's exactly what my story will be about. Well, I have to admit, I was very, very lucky in the beginning of my life, and then I got less lucky, but that may be the main reason why everything turned out the way it did. I am lucky that I was born into such a musical family. My mother was a songwriting teacher, and my father played many musical instruments, from the piano to the ukulele. And I also got lucky that my older brother Phineas, who was only 3 years old at the time, was already waiting for me. We grew up in a prosperous area of Los Angeles, never in need of anything that we wanted. I even went in taking horseback riding lessons. Life seemed beautiful, but then the year 2008 came and brought with it the recession. We ended up having to move from our spacious house to a house with 2 bedrooms and 3 pianos, as my mom joked. Well, we had to fit these pianos into the house any way we could. I had to leave my horseback riding. It was too expensive, so I spent all my time at home with my older brother. We were all a little musical bunch. Phineas and I had nothing else to do but to become part of it. I always thought of it as something that was a part of us. When we were little, my dad would make us mixtapes with songs by artists like the Beatles and Avril Lavigne, so we learned a lot from those. Even though I never really thought about being a singer, I've always loved it. I've been in the Los Angeles Children's Chorus since I was about 8, and nobody said anything against it. I was so lucky. Our parents did not let us go to school, so both Phineas and me were homeschooled. So it's no wonder that my brother Phineas was always there. What can children do if they're always at home together? Well, Phineas looked after me the best he could, but still with horror remembers how I came into his room one day, picked up something from the floor, and stuffed it thoughtfully into my mouth. I could not concentrate on anything at all. This is called attention deficit disorder, but of course I did not know anything about it, and therefore I did not think about why I could not concentrate on anything for long. In fact, to not go to school, of course, had its own charm. Instead of learning the things that we would never need at school, my brother and I focused on things that really interested us and that we really wanted to do. I understand that in regular school there are things that we need to do and study because it's necessary. But we were taught what was necessary, and the rest of the time we devoted to music and dance. I just started writing songs at 11 because I was like, dude, I've got some stuff to say and I'm gonna say it, and here it is. You might ask, so what did you really have to say when you were 11, Billie? And you know what I'd say? It's annoying to me when people think that it's all just because of age. People would look at me and be like, oh, you're 15. How can you feel those things when you've never experienced them? It doesn't matter how old you are. Any person can experience any sort of pain or happiness. I don't tell people my age, though everybody knows it now. But the thing is that I don't want people to know because then they're going to think of me as something I'm not. My brain has no age. It's just a brain. And it thinks and it feels and I feel. My hardest years were when I was 11, 12, and 13. And people are like, oh, that's just being a little kid. But it's like, dude, that's when you figure out things, and that's when you start feeling horrible things. I think that's when you learn the most, really. The teenage years are the time when you learn the most, too. Being an 11-year-old sucks so much, and being 15 years old sucks. Adults are like, oh, you're just a kid, but maybe that 11-year-old has felt more than they have. Of course, a 40-year-old has gone through more than I have, just because they're older. But that doesn't mean I haven't felt the things that they've felt. You know what I mean? So I just wrote down all my thoughts and feelings and then made them into songs. There was no, I'm going to write a song now. I just did it. The first song I recorded was something I wrote when I was 12 called Fingers Crossed. It's about the zombie apocalypse, which is a little odd. I was in the songwriting class my mom taught, and the little assignment was that you had to watch a movie or a TV show and then write down all the parts that you thought were good hooks or good lyrics. So I watched The Walking Dead. Like, why not? And then I wrote down all this stuff. People don't even know that that's what it's all about because it sounds more like a longing heartbreak song. But nope, it's about zombies. But of course, that zombie song did not make me popular. It was just a fun song recorded together with my brother. Things got going much later when I was around 15. I attended dance classes, and one of my teachers asked if I or my brother could write a song to choreograph a dance to. I was like, yes, that's such a cool thing to do. And I knew that Phineas had already written this song, Ocean Eyes. You know, it was a miracle. In a unique and fantastic instance, everything about that song happened all at once. He was just sitting down at his piano and sang the entire first verse at once. And when he finished, he said that his song would sound really good with my voice. The only problem I saw, I have never been in love. Can you imagine? Never at the age of 15. So I had to convey that sincerity as if I really loved someone. It was fun to put yourself in a place you wouldn't normally be. People think you can only write about stuff you've gone through, and it's so not true. You can write about anything at all. Something you've been through, something you're going to go through, something you've never gone through, something your friend has been through, or from the perspective of someone you know. Later on, I wrote songs that were from the perspective of someone that I've hurt. And it kind of opens your mind to the way that people perceive you as a person, instead of what you think of yourself. Do you know my song about a serial killer? Obviously, I'm not a serial killer, I don't think, and so I just wrote about something that I'll never get to experience, but I can experience it in the song. And at that time, I simply felt this love inside of me, and I sang Ocean Eyes as if I was in love. But even at that time, nothing had started yet. We simply put this song on SoundCloud with a free download link so that the teacher could download it in case he liked it after he listened to it. It was late at night, so after I downloaded the song, I just went to bed. The next day, I was just sitting in Starbucks, drinking my latte and thinking about all the different things in the world. But I did not at all think about the song we had put out in the middle of the night before. But suddenly, Phineas called me. His voice was trembling with excitement, and he was like, "Dude, we got 1,000 listens." That was such a big deal at the time, even though 1,000 is basically nothing compared to everything else in the world. But at the time, it was a huge deal. We just thought we made it. So he rushed to meet me, and there we were sitting together and looking at how it just kept growing right in front of our eyes until it got really big. And since then, it all began. Me and my brother, we became popular, and we have to work, and sometimes hard. But I guess this is fine with us. Sometimes we have to put aside our little friendship because we're just jiggling all the time and we don't get any work done. We have that trust in each other where you can just say how you feel instead of having a session with someone you've never met. And it saves so much time. I can be like, okay, I want to write about this. And then he's like, what about this? And I'm like, no. Instead of a session with somebody you don't know where you're trying to be polite and you're like, maybe we could do it different. I can just be like, nope, I hate it, stop. And that is what I like the most about being with my brother, being myself. I hope my music will help people to be able to have new experiences, to also feel the same way in the places they have never been. Also, I hope it will inspire people to try to achieve their goals, no matter how difficult they might be. You know, I have Tourette syndrome, a kind of disorder where little tics come out at certain times and it might even look scary. I have lived with it for my whole life, and those closest to me, of course, knew about it, but I never mentioned it to the public for a reason. I just never said anything because I didn't want that disorder to define who I was. But you know what? Revealing my disorder inspired many of my fans that also live with Tourette's to be more open about it. And this, in turn, has helped me to connect with them better. I think I also really learned that a lot of my fans have it, which made me feel kind of more at home with saying it. And also, I felt like there was a connection there. I didn't think I would get anywhere, but I did because I worked hard and I really believed in myself. Now I have 90 million followers, I'm touring the world, and I have a lot of other songs.